guys, it's Franz again, updating you with what's happening in the major markets. Let's get right into it, taking a look at the US dollar in general, looking at some of the FX pairs. Here's the New Zealand US dollar, and what we see here was this breakout that happened, and we did not see a follow through. Even though a couple of weeks here went down, we have three fractals created right after each other, and now we are closing this week on top of the balance zone, even a little bit above it. We have not hit that fractal on this side yet. This is where the stop is located, but it won't take much next week to stop us out here, most likely. As you get many fractals in a kind of a trend move, which this of course is not, but the direction of price from this kind of point in time all the way to here, you do see that prices go down. If you get three fractals as this move goes on, what this tells you is that there is always a change in decision. The market changes its mind. It does not want to go down more. Instead, it turns around and goes up. It comes down again, turns around and goes up, and it does this 3 times just in this small time period, which tells you that the trend is probably not going to go down. We have to take a look at the monthly chart overall to see if there's any potential for this to go up now. Now, when it doesn't want to go down, it may go up. It may also go sideways, so we have to be really careful when to enter into the market into the other direction. But as you can see here, on the monthly, we are trading right in the middle of the balance zone. So as we are approaching these old highs here at that fractal, we are very likely to come out to the top if this doesn't go down in the coming weeks. So our short idea in the New Zealand dollar here kind of dies with the coming week, most likely, and we'll have to see how this continues. Right now we are not in this market. The Australian US dollar shows us exactly the same picture. The only difference is that the stop above this fractal has already been hit this week. Now we are also closing above the balance zone, as you can see here, and this is not bearish at all anymore. Here we are jumping up. We are really moving from these lows here into the balance zone and even on top of it. When you take a look at the low where this paused, it's pretty much exactly at the previous fractal, and something is going on here. We have a lot of buy orders lying in here. Who knows if this market comes down or also may as well turn into an uptrend as these levels here are breached. Last time this level, or the market tried to breach this level there, it failed completely. Prices went down. So far it did not end up in a nice downtrend where we can add on to positions and let it run forever. Instead, we have been coming around. So maybe now the breach will be successful and we are seeing or we're going to see this uptrend. However, the monthly chart is not as bullish in the Australian dollar, just because we are below the balance zone. We just traded into it this week, but it's not as bullish, this scenario. We need to come out here more for this to really have a chance of a successful upside breakout. So in the Australian dollar as well as in the New Zealand one, we are pretty much out, not looking at a case where the trend is working in our favor. Same is true here in the US dollar Canadian. We did have the breakout occurring after prices turned at the blue line, meaning the balance zone again was the place where prices corrected into after breaking out here, came up, did another breakout, but then the last 4 weeks we saw so much weakness that the stop below that very important support here has been hit. So stopped out of the US dollar Canadian as well, and now we are seeing price coming into the middle of the balance zone again. But as you can see, when you just draw like an average price here for the last 4 months, what you see is that this thing is not moving anywhere, and we don't get any bullishness after the breakout occurred here, and we're just sideways. We keep on trading sideways. Who knows what this is going to do? Taking a look at the monthly chart, we really have no reason anymore to be in this market, since we are coming back down, always coming back down into the balance zone. So maybe these breakouts have failed. We are not going to see this market move up. Instead, it could come down to that blue line again, to that area of the previous fractal, and then end the correction there before it comes out again. We don't know what kind of phase we're in the US dollar Canadian at the moment. We really have to wait how this pans out. For now, these long entries failed, and we do not know how it's going to go on here. We want to catch the next trend, so short is not an opportunity. It's not a possibility we want to take, because on the overall time frame on the monthly chart, we would be trading short inside the balance zone, and that's not the place where the trend is happening. So we're not shorting in the US dollar Canadian, even though that can mean that you're missing quite the rapid move happening in a very short time. Could happen, as corrections do have these kind of characteristics, but we want to catch these big moves, these big trends that last a long time, where we can add on to positions, because that's going to make the difference in our performance stats, as we are pushing the positions that are working in our favor, where we get the possibility to add on. We do not get that as a market like this, for example, breaks down to here and then turns around. Even though it covered a couple of hundred pips in here, this is corrective. This is very low chances for a downtrend to establish. So we would just be leaving that aside, looking at another market. Again, in relation to the US dollar, we're looking at the Euro US dollar, and also disappointing to notice here that we are sitting on this monthly low for over a month now, and we are trading into the balance zone. This does not make for a great bearish scenario here. The more weeks go by, the more we are approaching the balance zone more and more. This is also not a scenario short that worked out for us. We'll really have to see where this goes, if we'll see a failed breakout on the monthly chart here, as the price breached the low already, but then trades to the upside. Will there be momentum turning up in the indicator down here? Will we see this trend to the downside hitting these old lows, or is this going to move up into the balance zone and then find itself before it can break out into any sort of direction? We don't know right now. We're not stopped out here. We are still short from up here, and we'll really have to see where this market will be trading. US dollar here, finishing off the related pairs in the FX market. Now looking at the index. When you look at the index, I have been saying for months, the breakout occurred, the market went up, but look at the divergence, and now look at the price action. The price action hasn't been too much upwards. It's going up, but there is not too much momentum in this. You will always get a lot of candles that close the week out negative, and now you have your first week that trades into the balance zone. Usually we do find a lot of support in here, meaning that a fractal will be created to the downside, which would be the new stop then, and then we'll have this market finish off maybe up here and turning down, and maybe massively down into the previous levels that we saw down here around the 11,500 area. We don't know. It's in the worst case, it may just drop all the way to previous breakout levels. We don't know how price is going to behave, but the divergence needs to be recognized, and we need to really see that no momentum strength is going to appear, most likely, as we're seeing momentum turning negative already, and that makes for a possible end in this uptrend that has been going on for such a long time in the US dollar, and maybe we'll see a major correction on this kind of time frame here, which again would send prices lower for the next years, most likely. Let's now go over to something a little bit more positive here in our trend following space. Oh, by the way, in all these markets I just showed you, even if we lose in that, we lose like 0.5% as we are cutting our loss. We lose like 1% as we are hitting the maximum loss that we calculated for every position. And when you plot your performance stats and you have a 1% loss, you don't even see it in your performance stats. It's just little bumps, but you will never really have a huge loss that will take your account 15-20% down. It will just always be so little losses, so small losses, that we are not really worried that we're taking them, as long as we always have stuff going on that really works in our favor, where we can add on into it and then make a sizable gain from that, gaining much more than the losses ever put down the account. So, talking about something positive now would be the Nikkei index that is in focus. And when you take a look at this week, it's really nice to see how this market bounced off the balance zone. It is still in an uptrend, and we can see this very clearly in the Nikkei. It's not so clear in other markets, in other indice markets. But here I do like the picture, and I'm pretty sure that this market in the coming months is going to hit this 21,000 mark, and we'll then see how it continues. But the breakouts down here are successful as of now, and even though this week saw quite the drop, we did pull back towards the end of it very nicely, and now we're waiting for this simply to continue to the upside. And this kind of is the same in all the indice markets, but we do not have such a clear picture everywhere. Taking a look at the FTSE, we are seeing that this market has come up straight out, and now one candle that takes away all of the gains from the previous week is closing at its low too. So let's see if enough momentum comes in this market to go higher in momentum, to really take these prices to new highs, really new all-time highs in the FTSE, and not see this market break down, coming back into the balance zone before it sees a bigger correction to the downside. And this is really kind of the situation in the indices, that we have the S&P as well, that they are all on the verge. Are they going to go up more, or will we see these divergences panning out? When you take a look at the S&P, the last 6 weeks here have not done anything. We are not dropping, but we're also not really going up. So this doesn't really support momentum that would take itself to new highs, where we can really see that the market is coming together. We do see more bulls coming into this, more investors buying. This really needs to be seen. We don't know right now if this is going to happen. FTSE again, a little bit unclear. S&P a little bit unclear. Nikkei, in my opinion, does give us the best impression for longs that are going to keep on working. We'll really have to wait in the other markets. Another trend unfolding and working out, British pound Australian. I'm just showing you the candle now. You know what's going on as you've been listening to me. We are short from up here, and now we're just waiting for this to continue down. We did have a positive week, but we are still waiting for levels down here. It may take a while, but let's just wait. Stop above here. Nothing else to say about that. For the last market, we do have a new breakout that occurred this week. Is the Euro Australian. We have a quite the side movement here, and now it breaks out this fractal to the downside, and here we have the monthly support. Let's see if it comes here and how fast, or if at all, it is going to start and move. The candle for this week did not close so nicely. It pulled up after it broke out. Let's see if this was a failed breakout, or if we see continuous down action on the monthly. We certainly have reason to believe that this is going to go down, as the fractals had already been hit here 3 months ago, 4 months ago, but price hadn't really been going or gotten going, and now we're waiting for this hopefully to establish itself to the downside, and in the best case we'll hit these lows here. But that of course is something that can only happen in a very long time, a couple of months at least. Let's play again a great risk management, so if that fails, no problem, and we are heavily invested, or more invested, in the British pound shorts and in the Nikkei long, and we'll see if that works out. See you again next week. Thanks for watching the video, and like my stuff if you like it. See ya.